Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talk a Good Game, where it's the match preview for West Ham United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. No Gio this week, but I thought I'd make up for it by wearing the exact same jumper as Gonzo beautifully. How fun is that? I noticed that the second you jumped onto the call, thought I'd leave the
I
mention until
hadn't.
now.
Your hair, your hair was masking it.
We just get rid of
Oh,
that. Okay.
beautiful choice of attire, Charlie.
Is it as cozy for you as it is for me?
I think it suits my white Russian. Oh,
Nice. Oh, well, okay. That was a
yeah.
terrifying moment there. That was a terrifying moment. As might be with the game. Gonzo, let's start as we always do. Give us your thoughts on the opposition.
I think they've done remarkably well. We're hearing off everybody what a great season we've been having. Well, they're only 3 points behind us in the league. They've also qualified out of their group qualified. I think they've gone straight to the last 16, have they not, as well,
Yep.
like ourselves in the Europa League. So they've completely mirrored our season. It's one win in it? That's nothing, is it? And then I think sort of like us, they've hemorrhaged a load of players as well. And I think possibly Caicedo was £100 million to Chelsea, that or thereabouts. They've obviously lost McAllister. They've had their midfield rips out, and I think with that in mind, it's not just that they've been plundered completely. I expect Jack Sparrow to turn up on the Black Pearl in a minute and basically pillage and plunder some more. Newcastle have taken whatever his name is, Ainsworth, their director of football. Chelsea have taken 2 of their scouts and their manager, and then spat him out and they decided they didn't want him. And now they're looking at their current manager thinking, hey, he's not too bad. That De Zerbi fella, honestly, pillaged and plundered Brighton have been. But you know what? There they are, still sailing along on the calm, merry seas and doing a damn fine job of it, to be honest with you, Charlie.
Yeah, you have to, for a club outside of the Sky Sports top 6/7. You really have to look at Brighton sort of with longing eyes a little bit, just the way they're run. Not even necessarily. I mean, we'll get onto players after, but just specifically from the way they're run, you have to look at it and just be incredibly envious. I mean, like you say, for a team that have a lot of turnover because frankly they don't have the finances of some other clubs, even a club like us, they probably don't have the finances that we would have. Listen, don't get me wrong, they've spent this year, they've spent money on players, but still nowhere near to the same levels. They have consistently managed to pull performances together, and for a team who are in Europe for the first time, like you say, got through to the final round 16, topped their group, started shaky with a loss and a draw, and then went on to win every other game. Started the season brilliantly, and I think they're currently on a bit of an awkward run where I should have looked this up. I believe it's 3 wins in the last 13 in the Premier League, which is obviously quite shaky. But there's a hell of a lot of draws in there, and because the start, the however many games before that, the 6 games, whatever before that, was so strong, they're still in an unbelievably good position for a club who are dealing with so many different things, and it's something that there's just so many different elements to the way they are that I would love at West Ham. One of them being succession. You spoke about the man heading off to Newcastle, for example. Before he even left, they knew who was going to take over his job, and it was from internally. It was the loans manager, which makes sense, right? If you're the guy who's in charge of the footballing operations of the club, and you're a club like Brighton who have a lot of players on the books who are out on loan, trying to develop, see which ones are which. Well, when the guy who's in charge goes, surely you want the guy who knows all of the players who are out on loan to be the next guy in charge. And it works. The succession works. Even in a season like this where they have a lot going on, they've had a lot of injuries, they're still managing to truck along at a really, really impressive rate.
Trucks, ships. It's just transportation's really, really good. I'm glad I didn't get it wrong when they said, well, who should we get to replace the director of football? Let's get the loans manager, and they didn't get a guy in that did all the hire purchase financing.
The
He's
coach
really
driver for away days, yeah.
He doesn't know his stuff. Oh, but he's very thrifty.
Listen, at Brighton, you never know. He might know his stuff, That's just the way that club is.
Hey, it certainly does. Yeah, lots to be admired with him, Charlie.
But what about players specifically? Any of them that you long for?
Not really, no. I think I saw that Evan Ferguson. Is that his name? Evan Ferguson?
Mm-hmm.
I saw him play in the flesh last season. Bit too close up for my liking, quite frankly. They spanked our bums, not him personally.
Yeah.
Big boy, only 18, really big, strapping young lad. He looks good. I saw him. I haven't seen him play much this season, actually. When I did see him play, I think he scored a hat-trick. One of them was a little bit lucky, but I thought he looked really good. One of the goals took it really early. I thought he was going to go on and really sort of dominate this season, but I guess you've got to rest. I'm surprised to see Danny Welbeck in there. I mean, they've got the they really have got the geriatrics ward going on there, haven't they? With Danny Welbeck in there, so James Milner popped up.
Adam Lallana.
Yeah, and Lallana, absolutely. But they're chugging along. It's a train now. It's been a ship, a truck, and now a train. They're chugging along. I haven't seen that much. I obviously watched the highlights. That goal was Pervy Rasputin or whatever his name was. Blimey, that was some strike. And I think the right back that scored the first goal that game, Hinshelwood. It sounds like Sean Connery should say it, but him, he sadly passed away now. Not Hinshelwood, Sean Connery. All
the latest and great. If you need more James Bond news, make sure to subscribe to Hamish Chat because we've got you covered. We have you absolutely covered.
Absolutely, you feel it should just be Hinshelwood, but I've just checked. He stuck an H in there. Maybe his parents were just trying to be funny about it. Maybe they called him Tinselwood at Christmas. So anyway, he looked decent. Look, they've got some decent players there. I'd be lying if I said I knew all of them. Dunk is really good though. We know about Dunk because we faced him every season, and he's been metamorphosized from this sort of old clogger that used to play under Chris Hughton to a sort of all expensive footballing centre back. Yeah, well done, Dunk.
Well done, Dunk. Yeah, I mean, we knew about him. We were linked with him under Allardyce back before Brighton were even in the Premier League. He was touted as an Allardyce-esque centre back, and you look at him now, it's very different. I mean, like you say, when you see Welbeck and Lallana and Milner, I mean, I remember again back in the day in those sort of eras where it was often said that we would just buy players that Jack Sullivan liked on FIFA 14. Well, it seems like Brighton had that a little bit, the same copy of the game, except, it's gone quite well for them. Outside of that, I love Pascal Gross. I think he's brilliant. I liked him before he joined Brighton. There was a time where I thought it wasn't going to work out. It's very, very much working out now. I really, really like him. Obviously, João Pedro's coming this year from Watford and done very well, almost taking that burden off it being just about how well Evan Ferguson can done it. Don't know how many goals he's got now, but he's done really well. Mitoma is the obvious name that everyone brings up when you talk about him. He's just so fun to watch. He's just so good. And like I say, in a season where they've had a lot of injuries, I mean, I was looking for now. I've written some down. Webster's been out for a significant amount of time. Estupinian, Lamptey, Veltman, who else has been out? You've got Mitoma's been out for quite a while. Ansu Fati, who rocked up from Barcelona mainly because he was injury prone. He's been out for a significant amount of time. Daniel Welbeck's been out for an amount of time. It's funny how that works, isn't it? It's a lot of, there's a lot of players there who are very good and very admirable, and you would suspect would go on to do big things. But before we go on to talk about the players on the other side of the pitch, Gonzo, with Brighton, do you think what is the expectation for them? Because there's obviously the conversation we have about West Ham all the time is like, where do we need to be aiming? We've won a European trophy now, all of these sort of things. Are we a club that should be looking for qualifying for European football? Are we a club that should be looking for winning the FA Cup, winning domestic trophies? What is Brighton's level now? Where should they be at the end of the season?
I think I'm sort of mindful to sort of try and dictate where anybody should be, but I'm also mindful that we're doing a YouTube show and I probably need to say some words.
Then how about this? Where would you expect them to be?
Yeah, that's good. It's only because we get told it all the time, Charlie.
Of course,
I've even seen it today. I switched on the internet. Sound old, don't know.
You switched on the internet.
I switched on the internet today, and saw that swat from Arsenal Fan TV saying, "What do you expect, West Ham fans?" And I thought, "Oh, shut up! He didn't last more than 10 seconds." Which is probably what people are doing now. So I don't want to be telling Brighton fans what their expectations should be. Shoot for the stars, and maybe your rocket might not get off the ground, but at least you've had a go. There you go. I would expect,
as Oscar Wilde once famously said.
Yeah. I think it's certainly top 10, and I think there's no reason, and they will. And not only I expect them to finish in the top 10, and I even think 10th would be on the lower scale of things. All these supposed big clubs can't always do well. one of them's always got to suffer. I feel it's sort of nice if they do. It's Chelsea's turn at the moment, and that's sort of poetic justice for Brighton. I think they've. I feel that on their behalf. I'm pleased for Brighton that Chelsea are suffering, because I feel, I look at it and I mean, Chelsea tried to cripple that club, really. Did they sit around in the boardroom and say, let's go and cripple Brighton? No, they didn't, but they've had a bloody good go, quite frankly. So I think it's very fitting that Brighton finish above Chelsea, and long may it continue, because I'm all for the little guy. Do you know what I mean, in that sense? And where Brighton have come from with that old ground that they had with no roof, and the athletics ground and all the rest of it. We got an athletics ground, but with a roof. There you go, just slightly bigger than yours, Brighton. But absolutely miraculous. I think they can have a right go at that Europa League with that manager in place as well. I'm going to say it now. There's no reason they can't win the Europa League. No reason at all. And there you go. Do I expect them to? No. But what should their expectations be? Go and have a go. Well, obviously, if we have to win it first, but if we don't, West Ham don't, go and have a go. Dare to dream. We does Rodders. He who dares Rodders, not dare to dream. Never wouldn't be that profound, would he, Del Boy? But go and have a go. Go and have a go.
Yeah, you often see West Ham fans or fans of any clubs talking about how they feel disrespected when, say, pundits and people don't really talk about their club too much. And the way it seems to go with narratives and everything else, it seems to be, at least to me, that you have your top 6/7 that they'll always talk about, the Sky Sports top 6/7, and you include Newcastle in that now. Then they have room for one more club that always has that will they or won't they do it story. Will they manage it? Yeah. And this season it's Aston Villa. Last season it was Newcastle. Season before that it was Brighton, right? It's always this, can they do it? Will they manage to stay in that position? Actually, for me, I quite like quietly going about our business. I don't mind other clubs not knowing what we're doing. I quite like the idea of clubs not really thinking about us, then we rock up and absolutely annihilate them, right? And from Brighton's point of view, they're quietly going about their business, and I'm not necessarily against that. Like you say, I think they can go far in the European competitions. I really do. I think they have this. I think they have the squad of players. I think they have the right manager to do it. And I would love to see them go, maybe not as far as us. I'd like us to go maybe one step further in the Europa League, but realistically, I really would. I think for a club like us, for a club like Brighton, who are similarly not one of those big Sky Sports clubs, I always want to see us do as well as possible. If it comes down to us versus them in final, vibes. But at that time, it needs to be us. But until that point, Brighton all the way.
Yeah, I'm looking at them in the league, Charlie. 19 games played, 30 points. I mean, that's a hell of a return on a season when they are reportedly not doing quite as well. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about Brighton at the moment. No doubt about that, mate.
Yes. Before we move on to West Ham, I believe you have some stuff you wanted to mention.
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah, there you go. It's admin time, promotion time, as it were. Now, do you fancy yourselves as something? You don't even have to wear a white jumper to do this, by the way, just in case you're wondering. But if you fancy yourself as something of a whiz at predicting Premier League football games, if you've played a game sort of similar to Super 6 and you think you can predict 6 Premier League scorelines, then you're in the right place. If you'd like to win some money doing that, you're doubly in the right place as well. Because BetMGM, who are advertising everywhere at the moment, have a wonderful app and have a game within that app called Golden Goals, which is free to play. The top prize for getting all 6 scorelines correct is £2 million. Now, let's be fair. That's going to be really, really tough to do. But even if you get 3 scores correct, you get a share of the prize pot, which is £5,000. There are always actually not every week someone wins it. Even that's quite difficult to do, but sometimes 2 people win it and they share the £5,000. There's been a point where 3 people have shared it, the £5,000. Last week, somebody won the £5,000 on their own. It's BetMGM. The link is in the description below. Please do use the bet. Use the link, shall I say, bet responsibly, because it is gambling. If you do like a bet as well, they have, if you pledge £10 and deposit £10, then you get £40 worth of free bets. I think, judging by the way they're advertising, it's going to go on to be the biggest betting app there is. So these are serious players. Bet responsibly. Over 18s only. It is betting, but the Golden Goals game is free. Please use the link below.
And, like you said, you don't need a white jumper. But I think personally it would help.
Mine's looking creamy. I'm wondering if I can.
I think, to be fair, the white balance on
There
my
you
camera.
go.
There we
Yeah,
go. Now we're
right,
talking.
who needs Purcell? That's his name, isn't it? Is it Purcell Rasputin? That's his name. That guy.
That is his name. Yeah, that is his name. He is
It's a bit
heir
more
to
accurate
the
now.
Purcell fortune, of course. Key news for West Ham. We're recording this yesterday, which is obviously quite early, so we don't have full team news on certain aspects. For example, Zuma and Aged. Who knows? We'll find out later on in the week,
Don't
I
know.
guess. We don't know at all. Moyes, however, was quoted talking about Paqueta, saying, we're not sure if it's a ligament or something, or if it's too serious. We think it should be okay, but again, we're waiting on scans, etc., before we can clarify what it is. I have no idea yet if he'll be fit to face Brighton. Whereas Paqueta specifically on, I think, his Instagram commented, it was a small injury on my calf, and in 1 week, I will be back. So, maybe...
Pretended to read a book, Charlie. I said this, upload a video this evening. He was there like this, Charlie, right? With the book, with his leg up, right? He's got the book. He's got his leg up, right? And he's done this with a phone. He's got the book there. Snap, leg up. Look, I'm reading. I know people in real life that do that. Pretend they're reading books. I know you are, and so that's what he's doing. And he's got the cast on the leg. He's giving it all that. I think it's just so someone can bring him a cup of tea. Quite frankly, I think there's nothing wrong with a leg. He's not reading a book, and he's quite capable of getting his cup of tea himself. He just wanted to do an Instagram post, basically.
Well, listen, you've got to get the engagement. I mean, I hope he'll be all right, given the fact that he walked off under his own pressure. And as I said on the live video with Gio yesterday morning, huge by the way. As I said with Gio on the live video yesterday morning, he was ready to come back on until Ben Rama was ready. So I'm hoping that it's not too much of a serious thing. I think if it was serious, he probably wouldn't have started. So hopefully we'll see him. We're not sure. The other, of course, big thing is African Cup of Nations coming up. Of which Moyes, I enjoyed this quote, so I wanted to read it out because I thought it was just kind of insane. He was asked about African Cup of Nations, specifically Aged, Cornet, and Ben Rama, and whether or not they were going and would ever be available for Brighton. He said the club have, quote, not had any confirmation on them, really, on their join updates, which is incredibly strange. You'd have thought that they'd be ready by now, and we're waiting on that. I love that. He just went, it's a bit odd, to be honest. Thought we'd know, but we don't. It has been reported that Kudus is expected to be available for Brighton. And we still, of course, know nothing about Mikel Antonio. Who knows? He has Maxwell Cornet his way out of existence, Gonzo. Who knows what's going on?
Everybody has. I mean, I think the other thing to probably suggest is, and we are a day behind because it is tomorrow. Yeah. No, it's not. It's yesterday. It is yesterday.
Yes.
It's not for us. As for us, it's tomorrow. As you're watching this, it's yesterday.
For us, it's today. For us, it's now.
Yeah, some time travel business going on here. You probably do need the white jumper to do that. But as of tomorrow and yesterday, Mohammed Kudus is going to have to fly, not himself, he's not got wings, he's going to have to get on an aircraft and fly over on the 2nd, which will rule him out of the Brighton game. They're expected to be there and be ready by the 2nd. That's what we hear.
So it's been reported both ways now, because it then got reported after that actually now he's expected to be here for Brighton. But David Moyes on the official club website went, I don't know, man. It's really going to be a wait and find out situation. I don't know why he has to go so early. To be honest, I get it. You want to prep and stuff, but if you want someone to be match fit, I would suspect a game against Brighton would be a little bit better than just training. But
let me tell you what I said on my video tomorrow, and that is that.
Wait, hang on. Tomorrow, is that today? Tomorrow for them? Tomorrow
I've already recorded it. I've already recorded it and published it.
The one that people, if they haven't seen it already, should go back and watch, because
I don't know how this stuff works. I don't even know if it's Christmas Day in Australia yet. I don't know how this time space continuum things work. But I'll tell you now, what I did say in a video that I've already recorded is that if there's a will from the club, if there is a will from the Ghanaian Football Association, and also a will from the player himself, to put a little bit of pressure on his association and say, look, they're missing Paqueta. He's pretending to read a book at the moment. He's probably not available. They're going to need me because I'm the main man. Please, please, please. And then they'll fly me out on the private jet. I think there is a way that it can be done.
Sure. We'll see. I hope so, because, it's going to be a very difficult game regardless. And now, in light of all that, it's going to be a very difficult game to say who we'd like to start, Gonzo. But one place that isn't affected is the goalkeepers. Areola, Fabianski, or are you going to pull a mad one and say Anang? What's happening? What are you thinking?
Definitely not. No, I'm just going to go with Areola, and I don't even feel the need to have to explain myself.
Yeah, I should say I've really liked what Fabianski did when he played. I love one thing I do love, and I make sure to bring this up every time about Fabianski. He just has a nice, calm nature about him. There's something about, specifically, for example, I brought this up on a live video a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago. Even. There was a time where the ball was getting floated in when he was playing, and Agard started readying himself to jump, and then out of nowhere just stopped because Fabianski had clearly gone, mine, leave this, I'm collecting it. And it's something you don't see too often with Areola, just that command of the box, which is nice. But I strongly agree. I don't think you have to explain it. Defense is interesting because, again, we don't know about Zuma or Gerd. So I'll leave it up to you how you want to vibe it. Let's do the entire back four. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sufal, as I don't think there's really an option there. And we have a necessary day's rest. We seem to have more rest than we usually have over this busy Christmas period. It has been quite a relaxing one for West Ham, really, particularly with the results. Mavropanos, clearly, there's lots to like about him. He's scored a goal now. He's looking more assured. He's a Greek god. It looks like the type of guy that's got some nice knitwear as well. And I'm going to go with Kurt Zuma because I just think he'll be okay. It's just a hunch. I've just got a hunch, and obviously Emerson.
If he isn't okay,
then he's probably unwell.
It's fair. Who'd you play in his position?
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Ogbonna, Angelo Ogbonna. No, I probably would. It's 5 days. I would. He deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm basically the same. Assuming Agard isn't available, I would pick the exact same 4 you are. And if Zuma isn't available, I'd pick the exact ones again. I think Ogbonna has earned it. As much as, let's be real, his previous performance was completely. I rarely have I seen a footballer look so done than I did in those games. His performance against Arsenal was imperious. He was he was absolutely brilliant, and I think he would deserve it. Then that brings us on to the midfield. And this is where it starts to get interesting again. Assuming Paqueta might not be available, assuming Kudus might not be available. Again, I'll leave it up to you which way you wanna go with it. I'll in fact include the striker. Let's just talk about those final positions, those final 6 positions. Where's your head at?
Okay, well, nothing exceptional.
Jacks once said.
I did. I got
a lot on that song. Yeah. It happened quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, it did over and over and over. I think, nothing exceptional in midfield with obviously Alvarez, Souček, and Ward-Prowse. Sorry, it's really weird. I can hear myself. It's horrible. Never know what you lot feel like. Don't like this fella. I'm going to obviously go with Bowen on the right, and because I'm going to assume I can't have it all my own way. I've got a hunch that Zuma will be back, but I can't just hunch my way through this. It would be brilliant if it was all lies. It was, there was no. I made too much play about the book. I don't care whether he's reading the book or whether he's not. I just hope he's lying about the leg. I hope that's a lie, and I hope they've found some resolution. I don't think the Garner thing is a lie. I think it's sort of touch and go, but I think there is a solution, a resolution that can be found. It's because it's 2 very different things. With all our team, with all those players out, we're a very, very different team. However, I'm going to assume that those aren't there, so I'm going with Bowen, Mubama, and Cornet as the front 3. I know it's unlikely. I know it won't happen. But what I'd want to talk about more than the striker and more than anything else is just how I just can't see a way or a reason to use Said Benrahma. And I'm discounting, for those of you that would have watched our Patron breakfast show, went into detail on this, I'm discounting the penalty. Forget the penalty. I think he's been so good at penalties, got that one in the bank. It's the rest of it. He is no threat. He's no threat to the opposition. He can't play counter-attacking football. His confidence is absolutely shot. And I thought, I don't think he was lazy when he played against Arsenal, but we got a lot worse. And he's not even capable of passing the ball anymore. I think it's that bad, really. I thought Souček was a better passer than him. And unfortunately for Benrahma, he can't bring the other things to the table that Souček can, like the defensive qualities, the heading, the threats at set play. And I'm sorry, if you are a worse passer than our worst passer, if you know what I mean, their things are pretty bad. So I think just David Moyes, as much as he doesn't want to pick Cornet, don't cut your nose off to spite your face. As far as I'm concerned, almost nobody could be worse on the left at the moment. So I'd just give Cornet a go.
If he's not available, if he's off to AFCON as well, I'm not sure if he's in the squad, but I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure he's not in the squad, and that's why David Moyes. I wish he'd have separated it. David Moyes can be surprised that he doesn't know whether Kudus is being called up or not. This faux mock surprise. Oh my goodness! Really? I don't know if Ben Rama or Cornet have been called up to the African nations. Yes, you bloody do, mate. You've not played them. They're not even selectable for their national teams. I think Ben Rama may have made it through to the last 50. But let's be fair. I think they're taking squads. I might be. It's around 26. I think it's 26. I got it in my mind. I might be wrong. What it certainly is a damn sight closer to 26 than 50. They'll definitely be culling half of that number, and I just don't think he's gonna survive the cull. Quite frankly, you know, it's not. Honestly, I could go for a holiday in the Faroe Islands, Charlie, and probably get to the last 50 of their World Cup squad. Let's put it that way. So I don't think it's any boast there really. So. What can I say? I would still play Fornals if I couldn't play Cornet. I'd play Fornals. I'd bring Kadua in. I'd do any number of things. I'd push Ollie Scarles up and have him in front of Emerson. I could name you 5 different things I would do than play side Ben Rama. His head is out the club. He wants to leave. There's interest from France. And quite a lot of it, and I think it shows when you look at him play.
He just slows down play way too much for me. I think his 2 big problems for me, working under a David Moyes system, his right foot and his left foot and occasionally his head. He slows down play an incredible amount. He takes so many touches on the ball. He wants to do certain things. He tries to force them. And it's that sort of slowness that just when you're a counter-attacking side can completely kill everything. And the other one is that when he does finally make a decision, he consistently makes the wrong one. A lot of the time it's taking shots from range, none of which are ever on target. And then sometimes it's just a weird pass and it's other stuff. He has the ability there. It is there. You only have to look. It was was it one of the goals? I can't remember. There was a moment in, was it the goal? Is it leading up to the header? I think potentially. I can't remember. There was a moment in the Arsenal game where the ball's getting played down the left-hand side and he does this little back heel flick into the path of Emerson who's on running and then he plays it forward to James Carson. All of a sudden you're like, that it's there. He can do these things. And I thought it was brave of David Moyes to pick Syed Benrahma because of everything you're saying. It made sense to me to pick Fornals to come on in that position, right? You know, Fornals is the guy who we know does the defensive side of it. We know David Moyes likes. We know he's going to give 1,000%. We're already 1-0 up. It made perfect sense for him to bring on Fornals over Syed Benrahma, but it was a big call. He put him on. He gave him the go ahead. And you're right. We got so significantly worse when he came on. It makes it so difficult to justify selecting him. Having said that, I'll give him some credit in that I think he did in the second half get better as the game went on. Not significantly, not to any sort of level where I would be, oh, you've got Benrahma's got to be in there. Nothing like that. I'll give him the credit of it. He wasn't. It got better as it went on, and I do think he put in a defensive shift, even though
he did.
I don't think he was entirely sure where he was standing some of the time. I think he was at least putting the work in. It's just those little elements just make him not work. And often we speak back when we were doing 2 spanners on the Patreon, when I was talking to a lot of different people a lot of the time, I'd often hear, you know, that Benrahma's people would use he was a championship player. That's what a lot of people would say. And I disagree with them there. I do think he is good enough to play in the Premier League. But it's just so abundantly clear that it's just not in a David Moyes or in scratch that. Any counter-attacking system, it just doesn't really work at all for Saeed, which is a shame because I like him personally. Yeah. You know, when he joined and he did the thing with Brentford where it went a bit on and then he gave all the money and all that stuff. Love all that. Like, as a person, like, it's rare you see that. And for a group of people who earn as much money as footballers do, I have nothing but respect for the time and effort and the money that someone like that puts into that kind of scenario. But yeah, he's just... it's just not. It's just not the one. I think Cornet. I double checked. He hasn't been called up. Saeed Benrahma was in the last squad. Cornet was not in. So Cornet, you can suspect, won't be going. It's difficult with him. I'll say that. I think by and large my lineup is basically the exact same. Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Souček, Bowen on the right, and then I would love to see Mubama get the go ahead, especially if Danny Ings also seems to be on his way out. I would love to see Mubama get that opportunity. I know some people, when he came on last time and flattered to deceive a little bit, people maybe the fervor to see Mubama play has certainly diminished slightly.
I agree.
I still have it. I would still love to see him play it. I'm all about giving the youth players opportunities. I think seeing him grow and develop into the team, I think, is an important thing. Although I agree with most people's assessment on how he played, being frank about it. And then I would probably, it would probably be Fornals for me on the left, but Cornet is very close to that. I think with him, it's really difficult because outside of that one European fixture where he came on the bench and did really well, he's done nothing. But at the same time, he's barely had any opportunities to. The minutes are little, but the minutes when he's on, there's nothing happening. And actually, when he first came, he had that huge injury, but for me at least, I don't know about you, when he first came back from that big injury and he was starting to make appearances again, starting to make substitute appearances, he looked really exciting. He looked really up for it. He was getting involved. It was really exciting. As time's gone on, those performances have gone. I've been less and less confident about him since. It's weird to say. You would think it would be the other way around, but no, for me, it's been the exact opposite.
I think with him, Charlie, it's hard to be confident with him. But I would just suggest that it's actually been Benrahma and Fornals that have had the chances. Comparatively, if you look at the numbers this season.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, they must have played 100, 200 minutes more than he has. I don't know what it is. The figures will be out there, obviously. So much little time. It doesn't matter. Moyes made up his mind in the same way he's made up his mind with Silo Kera. Forget it. It's not happening, but it's what I would pick. What I think David Moyes would do if Paqueta and Kudus are not there, I think he'll play Fornals and I think he'll play Danny Ings. That's what I think he'll do. And unfortunately, and that's why your next question is obviously going to be, are you confident? That is totally predicated upon what happens. With Kudus and Paqueta, very, very confident. With Fornals and Danny Ings, not at all.
Looks up the stat, by the way.
Go on.
In total this season, Maxwell Cornet has played less minutes than Mubama, interestingly.
I'm not surprised.
119 minutes Maxwell Cornet has played. Aaron Cresswell, for example, has played 254. Mubama's played 167. You have to go all the way up to Pablo Fornals, who's played 709.
There you go.
So yeah, over six times the amount.
Yeah, so he would have every right to say, well, don't compare me to Fornals, and don't compare me to Benrahma. There's no comparison. I've not had anywhere near as much of a chance. And you know what? Data's one of those things people will use it or not use it when it suits them. And I'm pretty sure David Moyes would not want to hear that data because that would be something that Cornet could come back with. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's made up his mind. It's done. The only thing that matters now is how much of that 17 million will get back in January. And I guess the other thing is we will be able to sell him in January now because he's not going to be away. Somebody can buy him. A relegation threatened team could buy him. And listen, I don't think he'll go to Bournemouth because I don't think they need him, but he's the type of player I can see going to Bournemouth and doing very, very well. What I expect to see back around about 5 million. Anyway, we digress. Sorry.
Yeah, you talk about confidence levels. That's where we're at now. And I mean, I missed, annoyingly, one of the games I've missed this season was the Brighton match. I was at a wrestling show. I'll tell you the story very quickly, right? I was at a wrestling show, couldn't get signal inside, so I couldn't for the life of me know what the score was. It was annoying me because it was on at the exact moment the Brighton match was on. And then as I'm leaving, a subscriber came up to me and said, "Oh, Charlie," and I was like, I'm taken aback because it's whatever. You
didn't attack, you didn't suplex him.
Not me. No. Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, Charlie," and I was like, "Oh, hi," and he introduced himself as by his username. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I know who you are. You're in the."
Did he use his username or did he use his wrestling name?
One and the same, potentially, Gonzo, potentially. Anyway, so we're talking about the show we just watched and everything, and he goes, "Oh yeah, and we beat Brighton." And I went, "What's it? Hang on." I was like, "Hang on, whoa. We beat Brighton." He's like, "Yeah, 3-1." And I'm not ashamed to say it, I hugged him. I literally had no clue what the scoreline was. And so I can't sit here and be confident or talk about how Brighton might be because of it. I would have loved to been able to give a deeper insight on how I thought tactically that could benefit us and all this other sort of stuff. I don't know. But purely from what we're doing at the moment, I can't go into this game. I can't go into this game with no confidence. I'll say that much. There is part of me that thinks if we turn up, we can beat them. They have injuries. We obviously have key players missing, which is a big problem, and it's sort of predicated quite heavily on Paqueta Kudus. But there's something in me that the never say die attitude, and as much as we have relied on the individual brilliance of those three players to create the goals and to score the goals, what we saw against Arsenal, what we saw against Manchester United, what we saw against Wolves, actually this club does this group of players in totality does have a never say die attitude and will fight for it. And I think as long as we have that, we are in with a chance. So I'm not completely devoid of confidence. But obviously without Paqueta Kudus, it becomes very difficult to see where the goals are coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your score?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I said 1-1 before Arsenal. I'm going to say 1-1 again. Just in the hopes that somehow the cosmic forces help it to happen again. What are you thinking?
I'm going to give 2 because I can.
Fair.
And
you can give as many as you want if you want. You can give every scoreline technically if you really wanted. But
I think if we're missing those players, I honestly think we could lose 1-0.
Sure.
If we have those players, I think we can win 3-1 again. I really do. I really do. If they play, we win. And well, as we'll see in the build-up show, mate, won't we?
What a beautiful sentiment to end it on. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for that build-up show. We'll be live an hour and 5 minutes before kickoff. And then, of course, like the video because it helps us out massively. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow or today, yesterday, whatever the time is.
All of
There's videos on both this and the forum channel. Check them out if you haven't already. Yeah, exactly. And subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers, everyone. See you later. Bye. Get your jumpers out, lads.